A little more sultry. It always sounds really good when you get a little close.
Especially when Lindsay
You want to make a point, you're like, and so.
Yes. Well, the funny part is Ken does all the editing too, so he'll anytime Gabe or I say something ridiculous, he cuts it and then puts it all together. And I do a lot of facial and mouth things, I guess.
She goes, so you started a business.
I get excited about it. I don't know.
I'm sure I have my things. I haven't watched myself enough, but every time I see myself on camera, I absolutely hate it. So I was actually listening to something the other day that said if you hate your voice on camera, then just try taking it down a tiny bit, and maybe that will help. So
yeah,
maybe I'll try and do that.
Hello, Elizabeth Holmes here. Let's try not start the next scandal.
Have you ever listened to Layla Harmozy? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, her voice is
deep. Very masculine, and I'm I think that's a little bit too much. I think it's natural, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it is. I've never heard her before she became famous and with Alex and everything, but their stuff is good.
Yeah, it is. I listen to them a lot. I listen to a lot of stuff.
His way of starting, grinding, determination, scaling a business.
Yeah.
We've read all of his books and I've done all of his stuff.
Yeah. I think that it's really good because a lot of times you talk to entrepreneurs and you just see the glamour side, and they're not shooting straight about all the what it actually
all the
takes.
shit that goes on in the background. It's a lot,
and it's good to know okay, I'm not the only one. This is actually normal. We all and the thing that sets us apart from other people is that we're willing to do the extra work. I told my kids, I was don't believe the thing that they say work smarter, not harder. Mm-hmm. It's of course you work smarter. That's just dumb if you don't.
Yeah.
But work smarter and harder. That's what's gonna set you apart.
You have to work harder than the person next to you, and the person in front of you, and the person behind you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to show that to your team too, because otherwise they won't be willing to do it either.
Yeah, exactly. So. I totally agree. I think that's one of the things that at least Gabe and I learned at West Point was just how to put your head down and just work. And so far it's worked out well.
It's working
I guess.
out. Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, I know my husband and I are both oldest of big families, and we were expected to do a lot. We carried a lot of responsibility from young ages. So, we can go back and be poor us, we're child labor or whatever. But no, I'm so grateful. I would not change anything about that now, because I'm look at how far ahead we are. How much that's given us in life.
Yeah, seriously. And you have how many kids?
4.
4.
Yeah.
All boys.
No. 2 boys, 2 girls, and they're all teenagers except one is 11. So, and I have 5 right now, actually, because I'm an exchange student from Spain. So
oh, really?
It's really fun. Yeah.
Did you guys watch the Olympics together? And
we've had it on in the evenings. It's not we're following anything specific.
But yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So that's a busy household. How are you managing 5 kids right now, and a husband, and running a business with your husband?
That's so funny. I was actually thinking about that on the way over here, because I was I wonder if she's going to ask me about how I do this.
It's pretty insane.
I literally have no clue how I do it. But I was thinking, though, I feel if you're going to show up 100% in your life, you got to do it on all fronts. If there's no give or take, really. People talk about work-life balance. That's not how it is. It's you give 100% to your business, then that's your MO. Mm-hmm. You're going to show up that way for your family too, if you know it's good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously there's seasons in life. I can't be full out in the gym every day like I like to be, but I still pace myself. I'm okay, well, I do know that I can work out 3 times a week and still fit that in my schedule, and I give myself permission to do that. Mm-hmm. And then in the evenings I tell myself, okay, work ends at 5. I can't after that it's family time, and I'm
especially
full on.
If the kids are teenagers, they're probably in sports.
Yeah.
And is that
I mean there's
middle school,
don't
high
get
school?
me wrong, it's messy. There's nothing very pretty about it. I forget stuff. The stuff doesn't get on the calendar right or whatever. And thank God they can drive now and have friends who can drive. So, they find ways. And I think it's actually really good, because children learn best by example. So they're watching us. They're watching us put our whole heart into everything we do.
Grind,
and that they know that's what's going to be expected of them too. So, they'll have an attitude here and there.
Yeah,
that
good
I
role
didn't,
models.
yeah, that I didn't pick him up on time from tennis or whatever. But I'm like, hey.
But hey, we were working.
Yeah,
We were doing,
yeah.
we're putting food on the table.
And you have a
That's
friend
what my
that
parents
lives like
always
a
used to
couple
say.
blocks away. Call them up. They'll give you a ride. Like, yeah. It's like,
Exactly. Yeah.
They've got to learn that responsibility too.
Yeah. So like, how did you guys get into Jasper Builds? Like, what's the story? I mean, everyone has like a background story of like how it all came to be. I'd love to hear that.
Okay, so Jasper is the result of like a lot of years of experience and just kind of figuring out who we are as like my husband and I own the business together, you know that, but for the camera. And he has had so much experience in all things construction, from high-end luxury homes, like huge 20,000 square foot
Wow.
coastal home in
The dream
Connecticut. That was
home.
his first project at 17. He was working with a mentor. That's where he learned that there's no such thing as good enough in this type of construction that we do. It's like, if it's perfect, it's right, you know. So he went from that, and he actually, like, his career spanned all different types of things. Like, he worked in those huge nursing home like complexes and threw down miles of baseboard and trim. Like, for months you'd just be doing baseboard and trim.
Yeah.
So kind of learned the production piece. And then we also lived in Savannah, Georgia for a while, where he was doing like historic restoration. And then he also owned his own like smaller residential company for a while during the recession, and was able to like take care of our family and everything during that time.
Wow.
During that time, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I won't go into that, but I kept myself busy, let's just say that. And then it got to a point where we kind of needed a life change, and we ended up moving closer up here to Nashville. And he worked for Solomon Builders for 5 years, I think, in their interior. So they're a commercial contractor, but he worked in their interior division, and he worked his way up to the general super position. So he was managing all the superintendents in the interior division. And then during that time, I put myself through school. So I went to Lipscomb and got a business degree.
Nice.
That was once my kids were old enough to be all in school. My youngest was in preschool, and at one point we had 5 different schools going on, if you counted me. So that was fun. And then 2020, I was going to graduate in May. COVID shut everything down. We had just launched Jasper in March. Like, we didn't, it kind of like coincided with like the world shutting down. Like, but like thinking back, it was actually the best time.
Well, everyone also wanted home like fixings at that point. It was just like the time of renovation.
There had just been a major storm. I can't remember if it was tornadoes or something that had come through Nashville. So there was a lot of repair work that needed to be done, especially in East Nashville. We got our first projects that way. Honestly, like, we got in, like, my husband took his contractor license the last session they offered for that whole year.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't even know. You know, it was just kind of...
Yeah, it just shut down after that.
And so, but I was still finishing up school. Like, I was, you know, March to May. So during that period, I was like doing the hardest class, you know, like the capstone class and like, you know, getting ready to graduate. And then my kids all got sent home from school. So basically turned into a homeschool mom, trying to start a business and do finish my degree. Other things were going on. We were renovating our own house, living through that, and then also renovating my father-in-law's house. He had stage 4 cancer, so we were trying to make it. Anyway, long story short, we had a lot going on, and it was kind of just like, hey, it's one of those times you just put your head down and make it happen, you know. But we were super excited because we're finally going to like put all these years of experience and hard work to use for building our future. And also just like, we both have a vision we love people and just the concept of home and family, and that we believe that everyone has a dream and that your home should really reflect that. It should be a sanctuary. It should not be a place that you dread coming back to at the end of the day.
Right.
It should
where
be,
there's too much to get done at the house.
And so to give other people the chance to really experience home. And then another thing too is like, a lot of people, it's daunting, like doing a full home renovation or building a house ground up, because it is. I mean, it's a huge commitment. It's a huge investment, and we wanted to provide that experience that really nobody else is in the industry, where we're taking your hand from start to finish and just kind of walking you through it as the experts, as the professionals. We got your back. It's going to be done like and I know you do this here at MyHome. That's why I love what you're doing. I think we
Yeah.
really align in that way. It's like we work with discerning homeowners who really value their time and their experience, and they want that partner who
They're
they can
with
trust
them.
in.
Yeah.
And build that relationship. It's really about relationships.
Yeah,
So.
our whole thing is, we're there for the homeowner 24/7. No
Yeah.
matter what is going on, we understand, bad things happen at all times of the day, especially when it comes to your home.
Totally,
Nothing
yeah.
is predictable. I mean, it is actually, but there's a lot of things that kind of is out of your control. So, yeah, we want to be there for the homeowner,
Yeah.
and it's so
And
do
I
you
mean, your
guys.
house really can be like your biggest headache or your biggest stress relief, depending on the part who you have in your corner,
Yeah.
So I love what you're doing. It's right on par with our mission too, is to my tagline is making dreams matter, building a future. I really believe that we're kickstarting legacies.
Yeah.
We're working with the people who realize that your home is one of your biggest investments. For some people, it is their biggest investment of their whole life, and so it needs to reflect that. We're not on a race to the bottom. If someone comes to us and they're just interviewing us on price, it's like, no, we're out.
Yeah.
That's not who we are.
Yeah.
We're here to give you the most value. Like, the price might be higher on the front end, but at the end of the day, it's going to cost
Quality.
you. It's going to cost you much less.
Yeah.
Whether that's your peace of mind or just the quality of work, the longevity of the product, all that.
And just understanding, I think one of the biggest problems that homeowners have, especially when they're going through a renovation, is they don't really know what's going on throughout the process. And
Yeah.
you guys have such a cool method, if you want to talk through that, and
Yeah.
how to keep the homeowners up to date on everything that's going on, all of the contractors that are coming in, the schedule, all
Yeah.
of that.
No, we believe it's incredibly important for it to be a collaborative process, and so we've created a proven process to bring our clients, or the families that we serve, through, like I said, from start to finish. So we call it the build it process. So we're going from B, which is bring the dream to life, when we're just having these conversations like, hey, I want 500 square feet added to my house. I'm not sure how to make it work. And, we talk through that, and then, and we kind of get an idea of, we just help them help pull it out of
A little bit of visualization,
Yeah.
a little bit of just talking through the
Yeah.
problem. Okay, where can we actually put this addition
Yeah.
on? Is this, do we need to change any type of structural
Right.
beams in the home? What are the expectations?
and what's going to work with codes and
Yep.
all that in your zoning. And then we will go into the U stage, which is it's understand your vision. So that's where we bring our design team in, and we partner with some really high level architects, and we have our in-house designer too. And
Nice.
another thing that most people don't understand about construction projects is that there is so many choices you're going to have to make. There are, multitudes of decisions, and a lot of people are just not ready for that, and so we're there to help them. That's why we just recently actually brought in a design, we call her a selections coordinator, and she has a design background.
That's convenient.
Yeah, so she works with our clients to fill out those selection schedules, which is a lot of times just hundreds of items that and it's not just oh yeah, that's pretty, I think I like that, but it's will it work? There's so many things you have to think of. If I buy this shower faucet, what valve needs to go with it?
Yep. Is this backsplash going to match the counters that I picked? Is it going to match the paint on the cabinets?
And there's
everything?
so many things, from tile direction to grout color to does it match with the paint and what sheen, and do I do the same sheen on the trim as I do on the wall? And you're just there's so many things, and where lighting plans, a lot of people don't understand that in your plans, if you don't have a lighting plan, then the electrician's just going to give you a pretty big number, because they don't know what to expect. So a detailed lighting plan where all your are you going to do under cabinet light, is it there's so many variations in all those kind of things. So really just walking through that whole process. So we during that stage of our process, the end goal, the objective of that stage is that we have a project plan put together for you.
Yeah.
So we'll present it to our clients. It will be their construction drawings, it will be their selection schedules, and it will be our estimate of what the job will cost.
Nice.
And
That's
a schedule outline. So if you start now, or if you start at this date, we can be done by this date, and this is what it's going to look like. And at that point, our hope is that they're yeah, let's go for it. And so then we'll start the planning stage, which is the okay, I just skipped a stage. Just the I. It's like the intention. So intention is set. That's when we review the whole project plan. We talk through it. We like explain everything in detail, and then we set intention. Okay, yes, we're going to do this. Contracts are signed, agreements are signed. We have all the legal stuff, and then there's a deposit that goes down so that we can secure their spot on the schedule. And so then we go into the L phase, which is for the build bit process. The L, it's laying the groundwork. So this is where we have planning. Our project, each project has a dedicated project manager, and they're working directly with the client, directly with the selections coordinator that we have in-house. We actually have an in-house estimator too, which a lot of construction companies don't have. They'll just use software and come up with. But we actually have someone that's digging into your specific project and really tailoring it for your specific situation. And then so we have all those people collaborating on your project and the architect. And so there's so many things to do during that process. But one of the things that people don't realize is like we have a whole pool of subs, which I know you do too, like the trade partners, right? And it's not like we just go find the lowest bid.
No.
We've vetted these people thoroughly. We've worked with them. We have their insurance on file, their W-9s, all the stuff. And we've worked with they're proven. We don't just give our projects to the whoever says they can do it the fastest or the cheapest.
No,
that's definitely
you need
not
that high quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, if you're promising that to the homeowner, it has to be.
Yeah, and so with every single project, we get an agreement with each subcontracted trade with their scope of work. It's clearly laid out what that's going to cost, and it's signed off on. So we always have that to go back to if there's any discrepancies or any questions.
What happens if a homeowner wants to down the line change part of the project? Does that restart, build over again, or does that can you pick it up at that point and kind of change the plans? Or
that's a super good question, okay? Because we run into that almost every project. Our hope is that by being so thorough in the planning part that the client is gonna love what we're doing, and there's gonna be minimal changes throughout the work, because it's not ideal to change in progress, mid project. However, you're always gonna come up on something once you do framing, oh, look at this. It would make more sense if this wall was 2 feet over. If it's just a little thing that we can do in a short amount of time, we do it. We're there to serve the people that we work with. However, a lot of times there are things that will cost more, and so that will be a change order. And through our software that we use, I forgot to mention this. So we have software that our clients are using, and they can see what's happening every single day on the project. So
that's right.
Yeah.
I remember when we had lunch
They
that
can
day.
see their schedules. They can see where they're at with their billing. They can see.
I think that's the the transparency. As
it's
a
so
homeowner,
cool.
that would be amazing.
They can submit questions through there if they want, although we do email and text and everything else too. But they can see who's on site as far as subs and as far as our people. What else can they see? They can see daily logs. So we have an on-site manager every day that they take pictures of what's happened, put in notes of what's going on. If there's any conversations that have happened on the job, it'll go in there. So that's really cool. So that's another place where another thing they'll do in there is sign off on change orders. So if they've asked for an added scope somehow, whatever it is, hey, let's add a couple lights in the bathroom or whatever, we'll put that, whatever that's going to entail as far as scope, in there and as a change order, what it's going to cost, and then they can go in and approve it. And that way we have it. It's all right there in that
easy.
app. Yeah. And it automatically just adds to the contract total.
Yep.
So it's super easy.
Nice.
And so that's all laying the groundwork. And so we're not even to the D, which is the do it. And it's the last step of build. So I love this part. I love explaining this part because it shows how much intentionality goes into the planning. Something my dad taught me when I was young. I used to do a lot of projects with my dad too, growing up, and he just instilled into me, if you don't spend at least 80% of your time in the planning phase, then your project is not going to run well.
Yep.
Something's going to happen. It's not going to be excellent. So
was your dad in the military by any chance?
No, but
we learned the same thing.
He was raised Catholic, so maybe that's by nuns and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a very fundamental regulation almost. 80% planning, then 20% execution.
Exactly. And then so the execution is the do it phase. That's boots on the ground. something that's really different about what we're doing at Jasper is that we have on-site management every day. So, and they're trained. They're highly trained, not only with like quality, but also people. So they know how to manage our team of subcontractors, and also how to have the conversations with the architect or the design coordinator and the client, and kind of work through those, all the things that
are the clients typically on the job when it's being done, or
sometimes. So
do you have any like real like? We don't want to like talk negative, obviously, but like any homeowners that are just like too much in the weeds, you're just like, please let us do our jobs.
Honestly, it's so much easier if they're just like curious but not in your business. I mean, I love to say it's a collaborative process, it's creative, and we want you involved, but also like you can't do your best work with someone over your shoulder. So
and probably most homeowners aren't the experts in those fields, so just leave it to the experts.
Also, like I've actually talked to some of our clients before and be like, okay, I understand, like, this is your home, and you want everything to be perfect, and so do we. So please just trust us. And it's like a piece of art. Like, it's like a painting. Like, don't come and tell the artist what they need to change until they say they're done. And then if you don't like it, then, like, yes, we can tweak some things. But, like, we are gonna do our very, very best to make this thing
it's probably
amazing.
hard to visualize. I mean, if you only see the drywall up, and it's really hard to see, what it's going to look like as a finished product. So I could only imagine homeowners at some point being like nervous about the process and how everything's going.
Yeah, we go through all that stuff. So it's really important that our team is really people centered. I only hire people that are good communicators, because that's one of our core values is communication. And honestly, like some of our clients have literally been in tears when we're done with their project, because they just love their superintendent so much. They're gonna miss him. They're like,
that's nice.
I had one of the moms that we were working for posted a picture of one of my guys holding her baby, and she was like, hire a contractor who will hold your baby while you have to change your laundry or something like that. It was so sweet, and I sent it to his mom, but anyway, that's the kind of relationship that we want to have, that we want to go for. And that's another thing too, is because I've lived through this. Like I've raised a family and lived through renovations. I know the headache it can be. So I've taught my team to really minimize that headache for the families that we work with. And we've come up with systems and methods for keeping, as much as possible, depending on the project, being able to keep people in their houses if they need to be. And then if they need to be out, minimizing the amount of time they need to be out.
Yeah, that's probably pretty important. How many clients do you handle at a time? Is it a heavy book? Or,
right now, with the teams that we have, we can do about 10 to 12 at once.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's way more than I thought.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So right now we have 5 teams in and around Nashville. Each team can handle 2 projects at once. Like I said, we have on-site management every day, so they have to like be able to spend a fair amount of time on the projects. But I have, each superintendent has an assistant working with them, so they can kind of.
And then what's your like ideal job? If you could, like gem up your perfect dream client, what does that look like?
That's a really good question. We've gotten really, like, I would say our specialty is the full home renovations with an addition. So we're really good at making that whole process just really seamless, like integrating an addition into a renovation. And we love to work with clients who, like I said earlier, understand it's an investment for their future, and they're gonna, they understand the value they're getting from having the type of management structure that we have. I mean, most of the houses that we work in are, worth over $1 million. That's just what makes sense. And then a lot of clients are adding like a master or primary bedroom suite, or
I would like to add a primary master bedroom suite too one day. I want a couch in my bedroom. That would be pretty cool.
That's cool. Yeah. I love when you're actually, a lot of times you're adding equity to the house in like square footage, but when you add a bathroom or, update a kitchen, it's that much more value added.
Yeah. And that's a really interesting point too, because I wonder how much homeowners understand how much they're increasing their home's value when they're doing all of that renovation work, because it's so stressful and so so many upfront costs that they may not have anticipated, but the return, the ROI down the line is probably tremendous.
Oh, huge. Yeah. And that's one of the things. Sometimes if I'm working with a client through the preliminary stages of, just understanding if we want to even do this project, I will do my own market research and be like, hey, this is,
so
these are the comps in the area for homes like yours, like before renovated, after renovated. This is what we can do for you. It might sound scary, like, oh gosh, the cost per square foot is like 250 or 300 to do this renovation or to build. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But then if you realize, like, oh well, the homes in my neighborhood are selling for $700 a square foot, then it makes more sense.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then how does the process work? I know when we had met for lunch that day, we kind of talked a little about the MyHome binder, the MyHome hub, which is essentially like the digitizing.
Oh, I love it.
All of the services and everything that you guys, all the effort and all of the paperwork and everything that gets put into the house. How can that be beneficial to not only you as the builder, but also the homeowner?
Yeah, so we're all about giving as much value to the people that we work with, the families and the individuals who own the houses. And I feel like that would just be another way to give them so much value. Like when we had that conversation, I was so excited because I was like, oh my gosh, this is something I could add to the package, like as like a surprise and delight, feature, just like at the end of the project when we turn it back over. Actually, we didn't even get to that phase yet. It's like we had the build it process. The it is kind of like, the afterthought, but it's not really the afterthought. It's very intentional. So the I is, oh gosh, what is it? Oh, sorry. Initiate living your dream. So you move in. And there's a lot of celebration around that. And I would love to be able to just, give the client that extra gift. Like
imagine not having to leave a paint can in the garage or a type of flooring or
like a stack of manuals or like sometimes we'll have like a binder with all this stuff and be like, okay, so you can find this, and it's very hard to organize. It's very hard to keep up with.
Magnification out, trying to read the small
and everything's
print.
Online, and you're searching for, where's that model number, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
But if it could all be in one place, that's huge. I mean, just kind of like a MyHome portal, and we could just like fill it out as we go.
Exactly, and upload things, as it's completed, and then you can even do it by room too. So if you're for the bedroom, for example,
that's
obviously
awesome.
You might have different paint color or different, fixtures, whatever it is.
Paint color, sheen, like where you got the tile from.
Exactly.
Like type of flooring.
I think that would just be so. I'm excited for all of this to come out finally because I think it's just going to be transformative in the home services industry for homeowners. I think finally there's going to be one place where they can go to have all of their information just saved and digitized, and it's so easy.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like at Jasper and just like you at MyHome, we work with the clients who really do value their time. It's like, time is our most valuable resource, and so why spend it on things that are just like headaches? Like,
right, I know.
Trying to find that model number, like, I don't know. I have clients call me that we've worked with like 5 years ago, or not 5 years. We've only been in business 4 years, but a long time ago.
4 years ago.
Being like, hey, do you happen to remember like what we used for this or that? And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then you have to waste your time going back into all the records and find that answer for them because you're not going to leave them hanging. But
yeah, exactly. So.
I think it's going to change some lives.
Game changer.
So what are some of the biggest challenges that homeowners face when undergoing a renovation? Like, what are some of the biggest stressors that you see homeowners, dealing with that you have to try and mold and make easier for them as they go through the process?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the whole process, like I said, it's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge no matter what, but we've done everything that we know to do from our experience to make it like as smooth as possible and as just less of a headache. We want it to be a fun experience. It's really different for like life stages too. Like we work with a lot of families, so it's like working around their schedule. Like we had one client who's like, okay, I want to do this huge renovation, but we have to wait till after summer because I don't want to be working out back where the pool is. You know, my kids are in the pool over the summer. So schedule is huge. And what you don't know is that I would say at least 90% of residential contractors don't even keep a schedule.
Interesting.
It's insane.
Wow.
So the more, I mean, I was just having an interview with one of my subs the other day, and he said, he asked his colleague, he said, how many contractors and do we work with in Nashville? And this is not like a tiny sub, like they build huge custom luxury houses. He said, how many of the home builders that we work with, the contractors, actually have a schedule that they stick to and that we know when we're supposed to show up? And he said 0.
Wow.
And so he was like, kudos to you, you know, but I was blown away. I was like, no shit. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, no, that's part of our planning process. So not
it
only
seems so obvious. It seems like, why wouldn't you?
And then I was talking actually to another contractor who doesn't live in state. They're out of state, but they're in my business network. And, I told them that our clients see the schedule. You know, it's like something that they see on their portal. And she was so shocked. She was like, you show your clients your schedule? Like, how do you do that? And I was like, it's normal for us. Like, we live by that. That's, you know, that's our...
Yeah. Do you ever have any issues with the subcontractors showing up on time per the schedule?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's another reason why those relationships are so important. And it goes into like, why you work with Jasper is because we've done our homework to find the subs that we trust and that we, you know, we have some strings to pull. We've worked together.
Yes. You'd be like, if they don't show up for whatever reason, I don't know, but you can just be like, hello, where are you? The homeowner's expecting you.
We know, most of them, we know the owners directly. We have relationships with, and, you know, things come up. We work through it. I mean, it's like life stuff comes up.
Yeah.
Like, it's inevitable, but you work through it.
And I think probably the best thing for the client is the quality of work. The schedule is obviously important, but they understand the timeline associated with it. You know, if things shift a little bit left and right here and there, it's okay, but the quality is really what matters.
Yeah, so we're all about quality, of course. Like, for us, excellence is everything. That's our first core value, is excellence. And excellence is never an accident. It's always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution.
I like that.
So that's,
Put that in there.
that for us, I mean, I'm going to say that till I'm blue in the face, because that's what we live by. But the excellence isn't only the finished product. It is like, we want our work to be excellent, but we also want the experience to be excellent. So from, like I said, from very start, when we're first having those bring the dream to life conversations, all the way through to like the time to check in, which is the T. Time to check in 10 months after the project. We're checking in, like, how's it going? Have you been loving it? Like, if not, what's wrong? Like, what can we do to support you? The warranty period's going to be up in a couple months, so let's get in there and make any, you know, fixes that need to be made if there is. But I mean, we hardly ever have to, because that's
for the warranty. If there is something that a homeowner needs changed or updated or fixed, whatever it is, do you go back to your same subcontractors to fix that? Is that a problem for you guys? Are you finding like that might become more of a burden than anything if you have to pull maybe subcontractor off a job or rearrange their schedule?
That's a really good question. It really depends on what it is. And I know you're asking because, like, the MyHome platform will have, like, those features, and I think that's awesome. I think it would be a lot easier to be like, hey, here's your list of subcontractors that worked on your house. You know, you're still under warranty for the next year or whatever. I don't know. We've done it different ways. It depends. Like, if it's something that we can do in-house and just knock out in, like,
quickly, easily,
in a half
it's
an
not
hour
a
or
burden.
something, we'll usually just send one of our crew over there. But if it's something with, like, that the electrician has to have their hands on, or the plumber has to have their hands on, or something like that, then, you know, we'll go back to the trade that did it.
At least you, like, actually follow up and take care of your clients, because that's super important.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I've heard a lot of from people who have been through home building or renovations is like, hey, we can't get in touch with them. Like,
that's what happened with us. We bought a brand new build. We were supposed to have, you know, the builder was so kind up front, you know, when we were moving in, and we had a window that the film, I guess, cracked. I'm not exactly sure how, you know, the intricacies of windows are, but there's a ton of moisture in between the two layers of glass, and you can't see out of it, and it's really annoying.
And
obviously
even know where the windows came from.
Exactly, and we continuously were begging him, please get us a replacement window. You know, this is going to bring down the value of the house. We're going to have to get this window replaced before we move. What a nightmare. And nothing. Dead silence. I don't know if he changed his number, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Just
You'd be so surprised.
ghosted.
I hear that a lot. I mean, honestly, I think our best clients, people are like, who's your ideal client? honestly, our ideal clients, I mean, I don't know if it's ideal, but are people who have like post-traumatic stress from like from those kind of experiences. And, and so they know the value of working with someone who really, really cares and who has the experience. And another thing too, is there's so many people out there that are, you know, they have their contractor's license or whatever. And I don't honestly even know how they got it, because you have to have some credentials to get it. But they've been trained by YouTube. Like, I mean, it's just...
That's a little scary.
Yeah. and codes, like, I mean, you can ask me, like, well, isn't there codes, right? Like, everyone has to build by the code. Yes. But for us, that's like a baseline. Like, if you're not passing code, you're doing something really wrong.
Right.
But we want to go way, way above and beyond that. So
it's not just about the codes, it's about everything else that comes with it. And the codes are automatic. It should just happen.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like...
Are there any cool market trends that you're seeing? Are there any, like, you know, customers that are coming to you asking for similar things, you know, new trends that you're seeing in the building space at all that, I don't know, might be interesting to talk about?
That's a good question. Like I said, we do a lot of, like, we add a primary suite to houses with an addition. Another thing, especially in the Nashville area, that everyone wants outdoor space, but they want screened in.
Yeah.
Because of bugs. So we do some really cool screened in porches with, like, fireplaces and, you know, like entertainment centers and the whole works. And
don't tell Gabe that, because next thing you know, he'll be calling you, and we will then have...
I would say any house that... It adds a good amount of value to the house too, because everybody wants that in this in this area.
The rooftops are the big thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's true.
Our neighbors have, it's like on their third floor, because it's like a tall and skinny. They have like this open area, and they screen the whole thing in, and it's very cool. It's like retractable screens, so they can either have it open or down.
We're doing that on a house right now. Yeah, we're doing a big screen and porch with like the vaulted ceiling and everything, and the retractable screens that you pick up.
So cool.
So fun.
What are some of like the biggest challenges you face in this industry? As a woman that's owning her own business in a very male-dominated, you know, business industry, is there anything that, not necessarily in just that category, but anything that you face that has just been a challenge personally?
Oh gosh, that's kind of a loaded question. Oh man, I could probably talk for hours. I could talk for hours, but I'm trying to think what would be the most like beneficial for this conversation. I don't know, just really learning how to become a leader, I guess. Like, it's easy for, you know, my husband has more experience in the industry than I do, and so I lean on him a lot for that, for like the technical skills. But as a business leader, it's so important to continually be just investing in yourself and growing your own skills, especially with having a team.
Yeah.
Like, they really do rely on my energy a lot, so I have to show up every day like full on, you know.
See,
and
that's
like, and to do that, I mean, you've got to fill up your cup somewhere. You can't give out of a deficit. So just understanding the importance of that has been huge, and surrounding myself with the right people from the start as early as possible. Like, I think we got a year in and we were like, okay, we need to be part of business network, get a mentor. Like, we could do it on our own, but it just wouldn't. We want to get from point A to point B the fastest, right? There's people that have gone there before and done it, so why like make the circles when we could take the straight line, you know?
Finding mentors too, I always find is such a helpful advantage, and people are so afraid to ask for help, I've found, which is crazy to me, because if you don't know something, just ask about it, and there's probably 10 people right in front of you who are willing to talk about their experience and
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's one thing that I'm still, I still have to work on. We think that we have to know for some reason. I don't know, at least I do. Like, I was the oldest of a big family, and I was the one who figured everything out, right? Like, I felt like I had to hold it together, and if I didn't know, who knew, you know? So maybe it's an ego thing. Probably is, yeah. But anyway, it's so hard to ask for help,
guilty,
especially when you like, and I'm, you know, I'm raising my kids, and I want them to ask me for help, and then sometimes like, why don't they come ask me for help? Oh, dang! Like,
yes,
the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But yeah, asking for help is huge. Like, even like, I don't know. I take pride in being able to say, like, we started our company from scratch, and we didn't ask for like any investors or anything like that. But then I think about it, and I'm like, you know what? At some point, if I want to grow this thing a lot faster and a lot better and stronger, I'm gonna have to get over that and like go ahead and ask for some, you know.
I see Jasper as like, do you guys have any plans for expanding? I mean, do you guys want to stay regionally here in Middle Tennessee? Do you want to expand to other states? Is there an expansion plan at all in the future?
We're kind of still working through that. We're not really sure yet. It's been 4 years, and we've just now really got our systems established. And
Nashville's a great market too.
yeah, it is.
It's a fun, you don't need to go anywhere else.
I don't want to distribute that energy until we're ready, or if we're ready.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure what we have is really, really solid, and build the reputation. Right now, I'm really working on getting the word out there and letting people know, hey, we're doing something different.
Yeah.
And if you want that next level experience,
because you've found the way to do it right. You have the best clients that actually appreciate your work. Yeah. There's definitely something special about the way that you guys have built this company. So it's exciting to see. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm excited too. Eventually, if we ever make any money,
we're gonna partner.
Well, we're gonna partner definitely. But I also want to come back to you guys to help us when we
build a house.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it was so fun.
Because I'm a very type A kind of person. I like things very organized, and it sounds like you guys do exactly that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So funny. I love to have things organized, but I'm not great at keeping things organized myself, so I have to get the people around me
that are good at it.
Yeah. I'm like that big picture person. Like, I want the data, but I don't want all the stuff in between the lines. Like, I've already read that, like, before you even tell me. I just, I want the end goal. I want, like, your bullet points, how we're getting there. Don't tell me anything else. I got it,
Yeah.
So that's why I need a team that's, like, in the weeds, doing the stuff, so I can, like, do the bigger stuff.
That's exactly. Surround yourself with people
that
you can rely on. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or, we're just kind of rolling here.
I think this has been really great.
Yeah. I could completely agree. I learned a lot. I just love learning about your processes, like what differentiates you from everyone else that's out there, and it's obvious how much better, I think is the best word to put it, you are when it comes to building a luxury property. So if anyone's out there looking for...
I guess I'll say one more thing. So I talked about excellence earlier, how it's our first core value. Our core values are EPIC. It's an acronym for excellence, people, integrity, and communication.
Nice.
So that's like, core values are not just something that we have printed out on the wall. It's like something that we live by every single day. We talk about it all the time as a team. We make all our decisions based on those core values. So if it's like a toss-up between like, hey, are we going to make this decision like based on profit or based on people? Of course it's going to be on people because that's our core value.
Yes.
Excellence, like I said before, it has a very clear meaning to us. And so everyone we have on our team has to really align with those core values. Otherwise, they won't make it very far or very long. So people, integrity, and integrity is like an overused word, I think, especially in this industry, or I don't know, a lot of businesses.
I think everywhere. Everyone's like, oh, integrity, number one.
So we almost didn't even use it. I'm like, I don't want to use that word. It's so overused.
It is an important word, though, as long as people are really actually embodying it and live their life with integrity.
Yeah, so we actually did a little research, and I'm super into, like, etymology and everything. So integrity comes from this word way back meaning no wax, and I guess they used to like put pottery back together with wax when it broke. But if it had integrity, then it meant no wax. And then if you hold it up to the light, you're not going to see the light shining through because there's no wax. So it's like, for us, it's like we're not going to cut corners. There's not going to, our work is going to be solid. It's going to be complete.
No light will shine through.
Yeah. Like, so for us, it means wholeness, completeness. Like, we're going to stand behind what we say and what we do, no matter what.
That's an incredible description of integrity. I've been using that word for many years, and I've never heard it described like that. So
even though I love the word, I also hate the word because it's overused. But when I tell people what it means to us, then they understand why.
Yeah, it resonates so strongly. Oh, that's awesome.
And then obviously communication is just so important in any kind of business or industry, but for us especially, I mean, it's like full-time, just learning. It's a science, it's an art, it's like a skill that you have to constantly work on. And like, what works for someone might not work for someone else. And so we have a cadence that we live by in our company, like, certain touch points that we always have to meet, but it's, also people too, like we have to do what works for people. So, like I tell our clients, they know that like minimal you're going to get a weekly update from your project manager. I mean, you obviously have
Which is
that.
so
Yeah,
nice.
you have that app too, where you can see what's going on every day. You can see your schedule. You can see notes, everything. But you'll also get this email communication that gives you like bullet point lists of what happened this week, what you're looking forward to next week.
Yep.
If there's anything that you need to know about, like, hey, we're gonna have the water off for 2 hours on Monday, or whatever, like things like that. So, communication is just always so important. We're always willing to have a conversation about anything.
Yeah, and that's what makes homeowners happy. That's
Yeah.
what makes the clients, come back and refer you to others because they thought the process was easy.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you need to do.
Yeah. It's huge. Like, I mean, when I ask people that we've worked with, like, what's the most important thing to you in this project? Most of them will say, hey, I just want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I want to know, the schedule, which is, we talked about that earlier, but it really comes down to proper communication, and then, knowing that we care about getting it done.
Yeah.
And getting it done right, obviously.
I mean, that was good. That
Yeah.
was phenomenal. Thank you so much. I mean,
Thank you.
I just love learning about experts in the industry and garnishing the industry knowledge that you have. I mean, you know everything about this field and everything about your subcontractors, and it's just so cool to be able to talk with you just even for like however long that was, 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah,
But
I love it.
Thank you.
I don't get this chance often enough. I should do it more.
Yeah, well, we'll have you back. And then if you want to do one with your husband, too, I mean, that would be super.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, his expertise, too. We'd
Yeah.
love to talk with him as well.
He's really good. He's the more like gushy one, so he might want
Him and Gabe can do
it. He might get into our story more, like our backstory and like all
Aw.
this, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
That was
Lindsay. It's
awesome.
been so fun.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate you having us.